Hello, my name is Malaysia and today I will present about critical analysis of Malaysia trade performance from 2022 to 2025. This analysis of Malaysian trade performance is to evaluate Malaysian trade performance from 2022 to 2025. Also, it's to determine the top export destination and major import sources. Next is to assess how this trade relationship influence Malaysia economic strategies and trade policy. The last one is to provide insight for future trends and strategic recommendations. To begin, Malaysian trade performance over these 6 years reflect reliance, recovery, and moderate growth. The period begins in 2020, where global trade was heavily disrupted by COVID-19. Malaysia experienced declining export and import due to supply chain breakdown and low global demand. However, from 2021 to 2023, Malaysia saw a strong rebound driven by higher global demand for electrical and electronic products, palm oil, petroleum products, and rubber-based goods. The recovery continued into 2024 and early 2025, that's supported by diverse export market and improve industrial output. Next, let's compare domestic export and re-export. Domestic export is reflect Malaysia on productions that make up the majority of total export over time. Domestic export have shown a strong growth driven by manufacturing and increasing contributions from commodities such as palm oil and steady demand from major partners like China, Singapore, and the US. Meanwhile, the export is a good imported into Malaysia and exported again that also have increased gradually, mainly due to Malaysia's role as a regional logistic and transshipment hub. Most the export activity occur in ports like Port Klang, Penang, and Johor. Although re-export contribute to total trade, domestic export remain the real driver of economic value. Let's move to import by end use. Malaysia import can be categorized into intermediate goods that used in manufacturing, capital goods such as machinery and equipment, and consumption goods such as food. Through 2020 to 2025, intermediate goods consistently dominate Malaysia import. This showed that Malaysia manufacturing sector is highly import and dependent, especially for semiconductors, components, and industrial inputs. Capital goods import show fluctuating growth that influenced by investment trade and industrial upgrades. Consumption goods import also remain stable, reflecting and domestic need. Now, let's look at the major export by sectors in 2025. In 2025, manufacturing enter Malaysia export and contribute strongly to GDP. The major export by sectors in Malaysia is electrical and electronics such as microchip and semiconductors that remain the backbone of Malaysia export. Also, the supporting sectors include chemical and chemical products, petroleum products, palm oil and palm-based goods, and also machinery, equipment, and parts. Together, this industry attract foreign direct investment and create quality jobs and positions Malaysia firmly in global value chain. Now, let's move to major import by sectors of 2025. In 2025, Malaysia import structure reflect its role as a global manufacturing hub. The largest category is electrical and electronic components, is the critical for semiconductor assembly and high technology production. Machinery and transport equipment rank second, that's supporting industrial upgrades and automations. Chemicals and refined petroleum follow, essential for manufacturing and energy needs. Finally, food and live animals highlight Malaysia's growing domestic consumptions and limited agriculture capacity. This pattern shows Malaysia's heavy reliance on intermediate goods, reinforcing its positions in global supply chains. Move on to major export destinations of 2025. Malaysia's key export destinations are Malaysia, Singapore, United States, Japan, and Hong Kong. China remains the largest partner due to strong demands for electronic and commodities. ASEAN markets like Singapore and Thailand are vital for integrated supply chain. This relationship influences Malaysia's trade policy by encouraging more FTA, lowering tariff, and simplifying documentation. Now, let's look at the major import sources 2025. On the import side, China dominates, like supplying machinery and electronic and electrical components at competitive price. Singapore provides finely petroleum and chemicals, while Japan and United States supply advanced machinery and high technology equipment. Thailand and Indonesia contribute into agriculture and industrial goods. These ties support Malaysia's manufacturing ecosystem, but they also underscore the importance of supply chain risk management to avoid over-dependence on single country sources. Now, let's move on into trade with ASEAN FTA countries. Trade with ASEAN FTA countries is important because Malaysia can get benefits from frameworks like the ASEAN Free Trade Area and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. These trade volumes are highest with Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam, that supported by lower tariff, harmonized standards, and dense regional productions network. This partnership strengthens Malaysia's competitiveness, reduce costs for producers, and expand market access, and also building resiliency in the face of global uncertainty. Now I will explain the export by state of 2024. Different states in Malaysia export different things because each state has its own strength. Penang is the top exporter because it has a big electronic industry, especially semiconductors. Johor is strong in petroleum and manufacturing because it's close to Singapore. Selangor is the main industrial hub with lots of factories and logistics. In East Malaysia, Sarawak focuses on LNG, while Sabah mostly export palm oil and timber, but Sabah export dropped in 2024, which shows it depends too much on raw materials. Kedah and Melaka are growing as new industrial areas, so Malaysia has a strong region, but some states need more support to balance growth. In 5 years ahead, Malaysia trade is expected to keep growing, especially in electronics. This sector is our strongest area, and global demand for semiconductors will remain high. Malaysia will also become more connected to global supply chain because multinational companies are investing here to use Malaysia as production and logistic hub. Moreover, imports of high technology parts will rise because we need them for advanced manufacturing and industry. Green technology and digital trade will also become very important as the world moves forward sustainability and online business. However, there are risks such as global recessions, geopolitical tensions, and depending too much on certain countries for trade. Malaysia needs to plan carefully, diversify its market, and invest in technology to stay competitive.